Well, hello there, Tortuga here, and thank you for tuning into this rather spiffing episode of Duels of the Spellslingers. It would be rather splendid if you enjoy this video to like and subscribe. Or don't, doesn't affect my life. Jarvis, bring the Bentley, we're off to the golf club.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Duels of the Spellslingers Tournament Number 3 quarterfinals. Today's match we got Dahaka 102 versus Machicolations. Anyways, English being aside, we have Dahaka on Ashiok versus Machicolations on Kiora. So let's get right into the match. And looks like we're gonna start off with Ashiok's view. We got that Extract Fear, Arcanus, and that's probably gonna go back. Yep, that's gonna go back. And Ashioks usually build their deck, very low 1 cost, 2 costs that give more spells, draw your opponent's deck, give you more creatures, some sort of effect that takes cards or copies cards from your opponent. So first turn looks like it goes to Ashiok rocking that Spell Fountain land. So at about, I think about turn 5 or turn 6, it can trigger to give him an additional spell. That's nice for his passive. And we got Kiora Machicolations with his Refreshment Stand, giving him another card. And we saw for Ashiok, it gave him the Slate Claw. For Kiora, it's going to give her, well, we don't know what it's going to give her because we can't see. But it looks like Kiora is going to open with the Mana Constrictor, make your next card cost more. That's why the Pyrobot costs 4 now. And 2 mana, you're going to play the draft a card from your opponent's deck. Ashiok picks the Birds of I don't know, I would go for Kiora's Tide Shaper just because it's a 2/2 and it gives you a land, or rather mana. But in any case, Dahaka picks the Birds of Paradise, giving you the 1 mana gem. Dahaka attacks with the 2/2. And interestingly enough, Kiora does not block with the 2/2 and decides to sacrifice the fish. Maybe Kiora has a giant growth or something to boost that 2/2 to make a favorable trade. We're not sure what or why. In any case, Kiora has 3 mana. Hopefully, Kiora can play the Kiora's Tidebringer or something else to trigger more mana, because you really want to hit that ramp. Ashiok, oh, very interesting. Ashiok decides not to block and take the 2 damage to the face, perhaps also fearing the giant growth. Oh, very well done. So in case there was a giant growth, Ashiok didn't block, but to counter that, Kiora used the Grudge Match, and there it goes. Now it's Ashiok or Dahaka's play, looking to play that Mage Mirror. It's going to give him an extra spell. And so, Ashiok, this is the interesting thing about Ashiok. Ashiok's deck, by playing it, you sort of learn what cards your opponent has, what cards they splash, what kind of spells. And so in this case, the Mage Mirror gives him the blind side. So we know Kiora's got a blind side in there somewhere. 3/1 doesn't normally attack into 2/2. You want to keep it. So maybe that's what Ashiok is thinking, and so decides not to block in case there is a trap. But in any case, there is not. Kiora plays the 5/4 Eldamri. Dahaka uses the Mage Mirror again, gets an unsummon. There's a very powerful spell. You can pretty much unsummon whatever and sometimes just undo an entire turn. With 4 mana to play, Dahaka might look to unsummon the Eldamri, might look to takedown's not a bad spell, even Shock is okay, depending on what you want to do. But maybe Shock is the answer if you want to get rid of those, if you want to get rid of the 3/1. Or maybe unsummon is the answer to get rid of the Eldamri because you don't want that to attack, to give a buff. Alright, so Ashiok goes into 2. I think Kiora's going to take it to the face. Yeah, because the 3/1 does more damage, right? So it is Kiora's turn again with 4 mana. How will Kiora play this? With 4 mana, you can have the 2/2 trap, the giant growth, rather the 3/3 giant growth trap. Kiora goes in again, and I think Dahaka wants to start blocking at 20 life. Yeah. Blocks. Turns out there's no trap. Maybe the Eldamri just comes right back because it's a great 4 mana play. Yeah, there we go. General Eldamri, the legendary, or rather the mythic card. Dahaka with 5 mana is probably looking for an answer. So no answer. No answer to the Eldamri. So Eldamri's going to get an attack no matter what. Maybe the play is Shadow Stag, just so that Eldamri blocks and hopefully can get a kill next turn. Oh, there we go. Well done. So with the -1 cost across the board, it becomes a free shock, and the Siphon Blood becomes a 1 cost. And just like that, Eldamri's gone. Well done, Dahaka. That's a good Ashiok play. Kira does the 4/4 Goat that gets +2 if there's no artifact to consume, and Ashiok didn't, so that's why it's a 6/4. Ashiok's turn, 4/5. Will you attack? Or will you look to get a card to get rid of that 6/4? It looks like he's trying to get rid of that 6/4. Could use the blind side, actually. Blind side would take it out, I think. Yeah. And Ashiok takes it out. Very good. That's 4 damage to the face, plus whatever the Nightmares is. So now we get to see from Machicolations' view, the Cura view. It's too bad Machicolations didn't mouse over his deck to see how many Nightmares. But as it is, he plays the Serpent. Everybody on the opponent's team gets -1. It's not a bad play. I think Cura is trying to go for that 10 mana. Oh, there we see it. 8. Now it's 9 Nightmares on Cura's deck. And I think Cura is just trying to outlast. But Ashiok is known, because of the Nightmare buildup, is really known to have a good counter of stealing opponents' cards and it being a good counter to long-term plays like Cura or like Nissa or even like Jace if Jace is going for the long term. That is where Ashiok generally tends to shine, with low-cost cards that steal or give opponents' cards to you. So there we go. Just like that, we comboed, giving it 1 life and then doing the -1. So just like that, the board is clear and Cura is at 8 life, which is terrible. And the Nightmare triggers, making Ashiok at 25, Cura at 7. So, I mean, fast plays are going on here, but Cura is losing fast. And hopefully, you know, he has Machicolations maybe at 8 mana, has something like a, you know, unsummon across the board. I think it's called Clear the Field. Can just sort of, you know, wipe the board clean to hopefully give him enough chance to hit the 10 mana, get your Tidebringers out, get your big Titans out, and sort of just take the game over. But it doesn't look like it's happening, because even at mid game at 6 mana, Ashiok has built, what is it, maybe like 12 now Nightmares, 13 Nightmares. And Cura has only that 1 creature out, which is susceptible to, you know, those unsummons, those 2 mana cost unsummons, or the Bird that unsummons, or just Flagrant Foul, all kinds of removal. But it looks like Dahaka doesn't have it, so good for Cura. But Cura's at 3 life, and 3 life is really that time when those Nightmares are ticking you down. So Cura is on a time crunch, and I think Ashiok knows that, Dahaka knows that. All you gotta do is block the 8/8, or you could take it to the face. You don't want to make an unfavorable trade, yeah. So now it's Dahaka's turn. I think that was the right play, because if you can remove 1 creature, you have 2 creatures going for the attack, and if you can remove any one of them, you win the game. Because, well, Cura's only got 3 life. And with the Nightmares ticking down, that's pretty, I mean, it could be Cura's last turn next turn, right? That's what we're kind of looking at right now. Slate Claw, okay, so it doesn't look like Dahaka has any hard removal or even soft removal like Unsummon. But in any case, he's going in for the attack, and he's going to force a block from Cura, from Machicolations. So Machicolations is forced to block, triggers a Giant Growth, but too bad, it still kills because it's 5 damage. There we go. Leaves the Frost Giant at 3 damage. And now again, Cura has 3 life, and will this trigger a Nightmare? That's what we're looking for. No Nightmare, alright. So it looks like Cura is going to make it to the next turn, and is going to cast that 6/6 Haste Trample Boar. Okay, alright, so that was not favorable, that attack, because you really wanted that 3 damage guy to kill the 8/3 Frost Giant. But it looks like Dahaka has some choices to make. Is the 7/5 going to block the 6/6? I think that's the play. At least you take that out, and the 1/1 just chump blocks the 8/3. I don't think he wants to take 8 damage. Okay, no, never mind, he does. He does, alright. So Dahaka, maybe he's got 3 damage straight to the face. Maybe he's got some hard removal to have some damage coming overhead. Alright, more Nightmares building up. I'm guessing it's maybe 13 or 14. Alright, there we go. So that's game, and that's just Ashiok for you. Sometimes he gets random spells that don't even belong to the opponent's Planeswalker. You just get it from, you know, your random bots that give you random things, and you got a Lava Axe. And that's game. Well done, Dahaka. A very good game from you. So now we're going to see Dahaka play his second Planeswalker in this tournament number 3 quarterfinals. And we don't really know what's gonna happen because they have these singles and they can play whatever. So let's see, Dahaka, what Planeswalker are you going to play? All right, so round 2, it looks like Dahaka is playing Nissa with the healing land. I think it's on turn 5 or 6. It could heal you for 4 life. And Machicolations now playing his other deck, Liliana, with the straight land. So again, it looks like it's going to be a long-term Liliana play. We can see the Infest. So it looks like control, card draw, some relentless, maybe some white DOJ. Could be something else, we don't know. We'll see. As it is, it's Machicolations' turn to go. Burns the Mana Coaster White away, cast the 3/2 where it does damage to you, and you can draw a card. And to counter that, Dahaka plays the 2/2 that grows into a 3/3 because Dahaka has a creature of power 5 in his hand. So Machicolations says, you know what, screw it, I'm taking the 2 damage, I want to draw life, or sorry, rather want to draw a card. They trade evenly, and he gets the hulking zombie as a result. So it looks like Machicolations drew 3 zombies in his hand, and if that 3/2 dies, it's going to become a 1 cost, a 3 cost, and a hulking zombie 5 cost. So I think Machicolations is going to attack, and depending on Dahaka's experience, he may or may not block this guy. He might not, if he knows Liliana has cards. So yeah, there we go. So good play, honestly, by Dahaka. So Liliana cannot bring out her Liliana's Ghoul this turn. Well done, actually. But also, you want to keep that Nissa. Oh, there we go. So Dahaka combos the Nissa with the Birds of Paradise and draws 1 more card and gains 1 life, right? That's the dream, casting all your mana gain when you have that 3/4 out to draw more cards. But what's the play here? So he goes in. Oh, that's almost telegraphing that he has Giant Growth, but he could be faking it. All right, looks like Dahaka doesn't. But it does trigger his Liliana's Ghoul to be cheaper, so next turn he can bring out the Ghoul and the Merchant of Death. Interesting. The 3/1 goes in, of course, and I don't think Dahaka is going to block, or maybe he blocks with the 0/1, yeah. But looks like Machicolations might have some trouble with that 3/3 Fox. So the way the Fox works, that 3/3 Fox, whenever it attacks, it gets a random buff. Could be plus to stat, it could get sneak or armor, or flying, or just haste, or even relentless. Could get anything, random buff. And that makes it dangerous. It also makes it random. It could get a very useless buff, turns into maybe a 3/4, and the Liliana's Ghoul just takes it right out. So you really don't know. You're kind of rolling the dice here. But again, these players aren't running optimized decks because this tournament is only allowed to have 1 card of each in the deck. So anyways, Dahaka plays Tristani and gets a mana gem, which gives him 1 more card thanks to the 3/1 elf on the board. And yeah, I think he's scared of rolling that dice in the 3/3. I think he wants a favorable board before he goes to attack, before he rolls the dice. Machicolations, I think he knows this, so he's like, screw it, I'm going in. So Dahaka has some blocks, yeah. Blocks the 1/1, gives Liliana another card. Maybe the 5/5 blocks the 3/1, and maybe he just lets the 4/3 go through. Doesn't want to trigger the Ghoul to become a 10/4, which is deadly, and is very hard to deal with. But you know what, Machicolations, okay, so no hesitation, plays the Ghoul. I think Infest could have been done very effectively. If he did Infest, it would eliminate the entire board for Dahaka, and it'd give him full control of the board. So that could have been a good play too. In any case, the Ghoul comes out, and now it's Dahaka's turn on 7. So usually Nissa's run something like a DOJ, Day of Justice, just for straight board control, but I don't think it's going to be useful here because Liliana's Relentless. You really want them all to have already triggered Relentless, or you just don't use Day of Justice, or Day of Judgment rather, until it's, you know, a favorable destroy all situation. So as it is, Dahaka does the 3/4, triggers the Ghoul to become a 8/4, but can't block. And now, I think Dahaka did that because there must be a way to deal with the 8/4. I don't think people would normally trigger it if there's no way to deal with it, but we'll see how Dahaka plays or uses his 3 mana. Goes in for the attack. Let's see what the Fox rolls, guys. I mean, that's really what... Oh, gets +1/+2. It's now a 4/4. So, that's too bad. Liliana's Ghoul, it really destroys it. Yeah, that Fox can grow out of control sometimes. But anyways, not today. So Machicolations' entire board is full of already triggered Relentless guys. And Dahaka is looking to block because we've got 4 damage, 10 damage, 8 damage to the face. Dahaka is pretty much going to be forced to block because Liliana's only choice is to attack because they can't block. So that's probably the right play. What are you going to do, Dahaka? I think you have to block all of them, right? But you see that card, that Blessed, I think it's Rebirth for 3 mana. So Liliana is going to get all of them back, which gives her +3 life and brings them all back at +1/+1. If Dahaka decides to block that 4/2. So no, he takes 12 damage to the face. I think it's still worth to play that 3 mana Blessed Rebirth. I think so, because it gives you 3 mana left over, and you can play that Mausoleum Witch to, cast Relentless on someone else. But anyways, as it is, Liliana decides to destroy the 3/4 Give Your Guy a ward when it comes out creature. And now Dahaka still has the elf, but is with 7 mana and at 12 life. So sometimes Nisas have Day of Judgment, or they even have the 8 mana, 6 damage Lava Wave to clear the board. Wouldn't be a bad time to play it because, Dahaka's losing board control as Nisa. And it looks like Liliana has some, still has the Grave Titan, still has the Mausoleum Witch, Lesser Reaper, so still has some Liliana combos to play. So far, we haven't seen what it looks like from Nisa's, Dahaka's side. But I'm really curious because at 7 mana, you could play oh no, that's unfortunate. There's a network reconnection issue, all right. So it looks like, I think we're back. Yeah. Let's hope we're back. Oh, we are. All right. So Dahaka does 3/5 Hammer It. When it attacks and it does damage, it allows you to draw the next card for 1 mana, and you can play it for 1 mana. All right. We finally see from Dahaka's point of view. Dahaka has some interesting tools. We got Tarmogoyf, which I think would give him a 6/7 at this moment, with a number of spells and creatures, and I think Artifact. I don't recall, but it might be a 6/7 or it might be a 4/5. Don't quote me. Dahaka only has 1 mana, which is useless, and it's not his turn, it's now Liliana's turn. I think Liliana is going to go for the 8/4 attack. It makes sense. Nothing can kill it. It could kill whatever. And I think Dahaka is forced to unfavorably block it for free. And it doesn't kill the 8/4. But at 7 mana, Liliana has a lot of options. I think earlier we saw the Grave Titan, which is a great play. We could use the Mausoleum Witch, make that 8/4 another Relentless, so it increases the board pressure against Nisa. Once Nisa hits 9 or 10 mana, and you can start casting, like Nisa's that 1 mana guy that consumes all your mana, Nisa's mana pool starts becoming a threat to other players. So if we hit that sweet spot, and then we can see there's the second sun, if we hit that sweet spot, I think Nisa or Dahaka in this case should be okay. But you never know against Liliana how she's splashed or how her combos work, if she can get a very lucky, zombify on her Liliana's Ghoul, on the Grave Titan, or even on, the Soulseeker Lich. So we really don't know how these Lilianas want to play, but I think we saw it was already White Splash and she's trying to go for that Blessed Rebirth. So let's see how it is and what happens next. So it looks like, maybe there's a network issue, but it looks like Liliana's taking her time. Yeah, that's unfortunate. 7 mana, not used, turn, not used. If you ask me, I believe that this is either a mistake or fat finger or just a disconnect. And it's too bad it's a tournament match. I think Dahaka will just go on. I haven't seen this video, so I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, and it's not spoiled for me. We really got to see, how this plays. If Dahaka passes on his turn, or if he goes in, because it's a legitimate play, if your opponent skips her turn, it's a network issue. Unfortunately, we don't have, the sort of rewinds that are more prominent in other tournaments because this is just an app game at this moment. But we'll see how Dahaka decides to play this. And he drew the Sylvan Shrine, which can combo off 3/1 Elf. I would probably do that. Still gives you 4 mana to cast your Grud Match or Tarmogoyf to, successfully block the 4/4 or something. But we'll see how this plays out. All right, so while we're waiting for Nisa to play her card, I think you guys should know something very interesting. So fun fact, did you guys know that scum in Victorian English word is, a Victorian English word for seaman? So if you call someone a scumbag, you are actually calling them a condom. And anyways, I thought you guys should know that extremely important fact that Tortuga was so kind to share with us the other day at 10:42 p.m. Thank you, Tortuga. I feel highly educated now, and I really appreciate the sharing of that particular word and its etymology.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
So Dahaka goes in for the attack. I think it's legitimate, and the hammer it triggers. So that 2/2 becomes a 1 cost, and he triggers his second son. Why not? You know, sort of a safe board, and you could still take the attack to the face, so it's time to trigger it. Let's see what happens. All right, so Liliana's back, thank goodness. 6/2 straight to the face. Yeah, Dahaka immediately mouses over his options. Is it Tarmogoyf? Is it the baby mammoth? All right, and Liliana triggers her relentless guy, 4/3. Your turn, Dahaka. So as Nisa, you have 9 mana. You have the baby mammoth, and you're probably gonna use that to block the 6/2. You need something that does at least 3 damage to block the 4/3, which is gonna become a 5/4. So Liliana decides, so it looks like Liliana is going to decide to take that 4/3 to the face and block the 6/2. Uses the Survivor's Regalia and gets the Dahaka, which is an excellent board clear, by the way. Does 3 damage to everything, and everything on the board right now has 3 life or less. That's a great play. As it is, 2/2 probably is going to kill the 6/2. Yep, 4/5 blocks the 4/3, making it a 5/4. And ooh, Envenom. All right, so we don't always see Envenom, but again, it's quite an interesting play. I think Dahaka is going to go for Dahaka no matter what, right? 3 damage to everything, but sometimes it's a risk because your opponents will have, your opponents will either have too many creatures on the ground where it's not even favorable or doesn't really make a difference anymore, or they'll just take it out with a Flagrant Foul, and that's your entire turn gone. So you're basically trading 10 mana for Flagrant Foul's 4 mana. So Dahaka uses the Survivor's Regalia, gets the Sylvia Bright, I think it's Bright Spear, turns everyone into 1 life, and I think the dream is to go Sylvia Bright Spear into Dahaka, so turns everything into 1 life and then does a 3 damage. I think Dahaka is just trying to mitigate the incoming damage, so plays that Dahaka, gets rid of the 2/2 zombie, probably going to block the 5/1, and maybe let the 8 damage through, but that brings him down to 5 life. There we go, Flagrant Foul, and that is game. So, well done, Machicolations on Liliana and Dahaka. So I think that's 1-1, and now we're gonna go into round 3.
Final round, fight!
Alright, so round 3 we got again Dahaka on Liliana, and we have Machicolations back on his Kiora. So looking at their opening hand, it looks like Dahaka got the 3/4 Glaive Cobra Warden, the 3/3 Fox, and the 2/4 Elvish Archer. We don't know what Kiora has, but Kiora and Nisa both want to have lots of mana. Nisa because you want to trigger, or you want to get her having a lot of mana to gain life, and also to trigger that 1 mana trample guy with ward, and Kiora wants to do it to trigger her passive to get the Titans. So let's see, Dahaka 1 mana, can't play anything, pass. Ooh, he gets a Bone Club Shambles. I think that's a great card because it's a 4/2, it gives such heavy pressure, and it gives +1/+1. So that's great for early game, which it doesn't look like Kiora right now has any answers to, at least not at the moment. It's a great 2 mana play. But at 3 mana, Kiora starts having options. Treetop Lookout, yeah, it could have the Kiora Tidebringer, which is very good at 3 mana to make that, extra mana gem permanent. Interestingly enough, Kiora doesn't block, I think because Machicolations is afraid of an oncoming giant growth. Blocks with the fish instead. So now that, he played the Glaive Warden, Kiora cannot attack with a 3-2, wouldn't be favorable. So it looks like tempo is swinging in Nisa's favor. Again, both these Planewalkers are long-term anti-aggro, trying to build up your board, trying to build up your mana, trying to trigger your combos or passives or whatever. So, when Nisa has advantage, or in this case really be called tempo, it's on Kiora to sort of undo that tempo, which, Icy Manipulator does well, but it's not a permanent solution. And it looks like Dahaka has some options at 4 mana. We really have to see how Kiora is going to handle this. So it looks like it's going to be, Briar Fox, Soul of the Wood. It's going to be the Dorga Druid. So it's going to be Briar Fox and the 1/1 Cocoon guy, all of which have Ward. And so it's not like Kiora can stun them, right? It's got to stun the Glaive Warden only because they get Ward. Can't unsummon them, can't Grudge Match or Drag Under. So Kiora just has to play some creature to absorb the incoming attack next turn. So what do you do? If you're a 5 mana Kiora, or in this case 4 mana, you could do the Eldamri, if you have it. You could do the 3/3, or the 4 mana Momorvig. But in this case, Kiora has that 1/2 guy that gives him the 2/2 flyer, and he plays it. There we go. So every Nisa deck, every good Nisa deck worth its weight in gold, always has Day of Judgment. Relentless, ooh, that's great. So now if that Fox dies, it comes back and it's just going to keep attacking. That's what you want. In any case, the 1/1 dies, the 2/1 stays alive, and nobody's going to block that 3/3. At least I don't think so. All right, I take that back. Kiora does. Turns it into a 3/2. 5 mana to play. What will you play, Dahaka? You don't have anything to combo Dorga Druid, so maybe don't play that. Soul of the Wood, Elvish Archer, yeah. Those are very standard plays. Again, with the Ward, so you can't get rid of that 2/4 or that 3/3 that have reach. That 2/1 is probably not going to attack, and probably when Dahaka attacks, Kiora is going to pray that the 3/2 doesn't grow anymore. Great play by Kiora. The 5/5 Viper makes everything -1/-1 attack. Dahaka at 6 mana has some really good options. I mean, what would you do? Would you attack? Because you're going to get damage in, but you're gonna lose to the 5/5. So maybe you want to chance it. Yeah. You want to keep that Glaive Warden guy because he gives everyone Ward, and that's so effective against Kiora, who has those unsummoned, that 5 mana Bird unsummoned, the 4 mana Lynx, the first stun. It really, really, really stops Kiora from just doing Kiora stuff. Anyways, that was perfect. So the 2/2 Fox with Relentless is now also Sneak, so it's going to get another turn regardless. The 2/1, does it block the 1/4? Maybe you just take the damage, right? Yeah, just 1 damage. I'll hammer it with the 4/6 and the double Ward, but really, just Ward, right? Because the hammer has Ward itself. So now Machicolations has to do with I'll hammer it, but I don't think there's a good answer. The 2/1 can block, sure. But again, you're just kind of, that 5/3 can't attack either, right? It could, but the 4/6 will block and kill it. So blindside, what do you blindside? Okay, yeah, I think that was a play. Blindside the Glaive Ward, and so now nothing has Ward anymore. Too bad for Dahaka, because I think he might have want to bring out the General Eldamri that we can see. Machicolations decide to go for a defensive play. Gains 1 mana with the Bird of Paradise, hoping to block that hammer it. Dorga Druid with the 4 mana Chauvin Shrine to take up the 7 mana. But maybe you attack first, right? To see how your opponent's going to react? Yeah. I think for sure a hammer gets blocked. The 3/2 Fox. So really, yeah. It's up to see which creature blocks a hammer. Alright. The 2/1 blocks, and now hammer's 4/4. No more Ward. Dorga Druid probably trigger the Sylvan Shrine. There we go. Draws 1 card, gains 1 life. Oh! Oh, but Machicolations with the counter. Alright. We have a game on our hands, everybody. So suddenly, looks like Dahaka was going to spiral this out of control, but not anymore. So that was a big waste of 4 mana and a counter. Very well done. Very, very well done. That was probably a very, very good negate. But we'll see how just good that is because we got that Day of Judgment. Okay. So Grudge Match gets rid of the Hellhammerit, of course. And now you got 7 mana, of which only 2. Okay, so plot. So Kyora's like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to block. I'm just going to play plot and sort of a win more card, draw 2 cards, and gain 2 mana, triggers Kyora's passive. Very well done. Dahaka's like, what? Are you sure? And has to check. Was it really plot? Yes, Dahaka, it was plot. Anyway, Giant Growth is triggered. Is he going to block? I think he's looking to block and try to grow his guys. And see, Dahaka's in his mind. He knows Kyora's big guy just got in Kyora's hand. Could be the 8-mana octopus, sorry, the 8/8 trample octopus. Could be the tiny pufferfish of doom. Could be the arithmetic that has the 10/10 ward, sneak, everything. Cast is 0/4. Interesting. Lurking Horror for absolutely nothing. Alright, so now we see from Kyora's point of view with the tiny. Oh, okay. So, what would you do? Drag under. Sure, that leaves you with 7 mana. Drag under the Eldamri. Okay. Do the 8/8. Ooh, okay, not a bad. Yeah, that was pretty good. I think that was the best possible target he could have frozen. You don't want that Fox attacking again to get maybe another Sneak, another Relentless, more stats, armor, flying, whatever, right? It's dangerous. That Fox is starting to get out of a little bit of control. So Dahaka, are you going to attack? Because nothing will have a good block even with, or even a good attack even with Giant Growth. So it looks like I don't think Dahaka is going to attack. And Dahaka's investing, if you notice, very heavily into the board, with only 2 cards left, one of which we know is Day of Judgment. So it's really up to Machicolations to sort of regain board control, and then for Dahaka to say, you know what, I want a Day of Judgment, and sort of reclaim the board. So Dahaka looks like he's going all in, and just sort of trying to find a way to deal with that 8/8, and now that Arcanist that just played. So Dahaka is, I think he's going to maybe chump block the 0/4 to the 8/8, maybe trigger Eldamri next turn, but it looks like, sure. So I think that might have been a blunder. I think he should have blocked with something to kill that 8/5. Maybe even the Eldamri, right? At least you eliminate that guy so he can't freeze anything anymore. At least that would have been my guess. Because now Eldamri attacks, and Arcanist already did the damage. Arcanist's debut already triggered, so you're probably just going to block that. And you know there's no more Giant Growth because it's a Singleton tournament. Anyways, Dahaka plays Survivor's Regalia, and at 2 mana, I think you can still get those named creatures like, you know, Peer the Dreamer, and a few other low-cost names, but there's nothing much you can play at 2 mana. So it's going to just be Survivor's Regalia, and that's it. Hard choice for Dahaka. We all know that Dahaka has Day of Judgment in his hand, so whatever legendary he got, plus Day of Judgment, plus the elf he just got. Yeah, there we go. Even Stevens trade. And now, even though Dahaka has good life total, it looks like it will be Kyora's game, because that 8/5 is going to go in. It's going to have a favorable trade no matter what. It's really Kyora to start, bringing out the big guys, start triggering his passive more by gaining more mana. Sylvan Shrine, a second Survivor's Regalia. Still has that 4 mana Vampire Drain Life guy from his refreshment stand. So it looks like this is Kyora's time to shine, and it looks like indeed he... Wow. That 8/5 Frost Titan has gotten that Fox so often. And it's just really terrible luck against Dahaka. I'm not Dahaka, but if I was, I would guess it may or may not be time to play Day of Judgment, depending if you can trigger, if you got something else to trigger. Yeah, there we go. Jorga's Druid, trigger that. Draw a card, maybe Day of Judgment, or maybe block one more time. You know, one more chump block with your guys, trying to draw out more creatures from Machicolations Kyora. But if Kyora plays that tiny Puffer Doom next turn and returns 2, and then the Frost Giant goes into attack, I mean, the whole board is clear. And that's going to be 16 damage to the face. But, you know, Dahaka can take it, and so maybe he's trying to bait all that stuff out, and then just Day of Judgment, and then it becomes more of an even game with a clear board, clear life total, similar life totals, and similar cards in hand. Okay, so whenever I play Nisa, I mean, I keep that Day of Judgment in hand, sort of like, you know, like health insurance or disability insurance, right? Not to bring in anything, and this video is not sponsored by any insurance company, but anyways, that's one possibility. So now we have Kiara's second. Oh, we got the Octopus, and we got the Riddling Arcane. We got the 4/5 times 3, those Sphinxes. All right. So we got 8/5 and 8/8 going to grow to something. Let's see. Oof. Whoa, big play coming in. Big damage. Wow. 16 plus 8. 24 damage to the face. Dahaka's at... I can do math. Dahaka's at 6 life. I mean, if you don't Day of Judgment now, I don't know when you will Day of Judgment. I think you are forced to Day of Judgment. Maybe Dahaka will attack, and if he attacks with all of his creatures, even though it's unfavorable, yeah. That's usually a telltale sign. Oh, armor. But anyways, it's not going to do much. That's usually a telltale sign when your opponent doesn't have good cards, but is going to attack anyway, or rather not favorable trades. Attacks anyways. It usually tells you Day of Judgment is incoming. We know it's going to come. It's going to leave Dahaka with 5 mana, and it's really left to us to decide how Dahaka is going to use that 5 mana. All right. So now we got 17 to 6 health, 5 cards to 5 cards. Dahaka plays everything he's got. He's starting to throw down the 3/4. Virtus the Veiled, I think, the 2/2 elf. Yes, there we go. 4/5 times 3, and Tiny to return them, and the 2/2 for good measure. So Dahaka's only way of doing this is to either have another Day of Judgment, which you know he doesn't have, a Lava Wave, and then block the 7/7. All right, Dahaka, you have the Lava Wave, and you've got the 1/1 elf to block the 7/7, and you play Virtus the Veiled. This is quite the match. Oh, Possessing Arcana. Do you possess the 3/4, or do you pray for... There we go. I think it's the... It could be that, or it could be the 7. Yeah, I think that's the play. I think that's the play. Because it's going to kill the 3/4. And it's going to give you damage. And he's going to... Yeah, I think that's the end. All right. All right, guys. So even though Dahaka had the board clears when he needed it, Survivor's Regalia saved and rather won the day for Kiara. Well done. Well played. Dahaka and Machicolations, well done. So Machicolations, you go on to the semifinals of Duels of the Spellslingers Tournament number 3. If you guys liked what you saw or heard today, please remember to like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment on the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Hey guys, Dusty here. Thanks for watching another video brought to you by Duels of the Spellslingers. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to our channel. You won't regret it.